So I guess just had a few things I wanted to talk about. I guess first, uh the main thing I want to talk about really is about practice and just trying to identify. I kind of give you the overall agenda just to identify the days that we have. We have Thursdays and I think Saturdays right now, and we're going to probably discuss a little bit about the like folks coming in and what's maybe some of the hang up why some folks can't make it on Thursdays as opposed to say Saturdays, and just get a better understanding of that. And then we'll talk a little bit about NCSA and what that is in terms of recruitment, especially for those who are who are juniors and seniors, more so seniors. And then for the Aspire Blue team, just talking a little bit about what's there for tournament wise, and also for the yellow team, which is a high school team, what's there for gameplay and when would that happen and things like that. So I guess off the top, I would address the practice thing later in maybe a second after this, because I want to make sure that, as folks come in, we talk more about that. But in terms of NCSA, for those who haven't used it yet or don't even know what I'm talking about, it's basically what it's a partnership we have with this recruiting tool that allows you to put your profile up underneath our account. And so what you do is then you could search for different schools. You could start writing schools and whatnot. And I think we even have a template like email that we suggest to send to the schools. You can, some people like take one email and change the name and send it to a bunch of different schools, talking about like their position, what they like to do and things like that. And then before you know it, you get several different schools responding back to you. Sometimes you get folks responding back saying, they'll like for you to either send them highlights. You can even upload your highlights if you had any, even if they're old highlights. You can upload it there, and then they'll start interacting with you. Some folks already, I know on this call, coaches have already reached out to them, talked to them. Even that's currently, and I'm telling you about even folks who already got offers the leading into the fall. I think we had like a few people already got offers and already playing in college right now. But one in particular, so Sam, congrats to Sam. I see Sam Deno on the call. He got his first offer yesterday, so he's not scheduled to go to college next fall. But Sam, been working through the NCSA, put his information up, whatever clips he had. He didn't have much clips, and he got a letter, actually a written letter from the coach yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Sam? Is that right? Yeah. So he went through NCSA. He got his, already applied to the school, got an offer. They asked for it. They already said that he's on the team if he's interested in joining. So right now he has a decision to make between this school and another school. And, I would say use Sam as Sam would be, in my opinion, the first one of the 2021s that have done that, because I've already know some folks who had interest, but none has yet to commit, or not even commit. Sam hasn't committed, but has gotten a coach to say, yes, we definitely want you. I know Momar's in some discussions and a bunch of different folks, but I think Sam actually went through and actually applied to the school, got accepted, and is really at this point pending. So that's kind of, especially for you seniors, that's kind of where you want to be. And some of the juniors too, you kind of want to have to start some of the dialogue earlier. Even if you're a sophomore to some degree, it helps, but it's not, the coaches are not really looking at that until closer to the junior and senior years. So if you don't have NCSA, and you don't reach out to me, or you're not using it, reach out to me. I'll give you just text me and I'll send you the invitation to create an account. It's free to you guys. It's a minimal cost to us because we have a partnership with them. And if you have questions on the kind of email you should write, Sam knows we spent probably about an hour and a half on the phone this summer talking about, what to write, what he should be putting and things like that. And then here he is with an offer already. Some folks, even before Sam, it was literally, if you guys remember, we had some of this discussion about NCSA back in, I told everyone it's time to get on this stuff early. We had a discussion in May, and we had some folks who already were either going to MC or made a commitment to MC, and literally just because they started in May, started getting feedback from coaches, and then they end up leaving the whole MC thing and then start playing in college. So it's that easy. Not easy in the sense that the process is easy, but a lot of the work has to be done based on how well you do, right? That's why sometimes win or loss, I guess, whenever you win or lose, I guess you'd want to say, for me, it's more important that you guys are moving up because, you winning a title at this level means really nothing. But if you could progress your to the next step and play at the collegiate level or higher, then that's good too. I will. So that's on NCSA. So if you don't have it, reach out to me. If you're not using it, and worse, you're a senior, you need to start using this. Like you literally are wasting opportunities instead of waiting until towards the end for a coach to make that decision, because coaches want to make their solidify their team around now for the fall. So just an FYI on that. And then on the flip side, I haven't really mentioned this on a panel this big yet, but we had 3 folks that went up to England, and for trials we had sent 3 folks up. I want to say it was back in August, and we had a process there. Basically 3 folks. Yannick, you guys may have see come to the practice now and then, and 2 other folks who weren't directly into our academy, but affiliated with our academy. They went up, they did their trials for a month, and they all came back, and then all have contracts to go back and play with a semi-pro team. So it's a non-league team, which is where most clubs would start. Like I'll just give an example, like a Wayne Rooney or Vardy, or those people. They always start at a non-league and then work their way up. The idea, though, being is that they more likely would not finish out their career in England. They'll play to the highest level they can and then transfer from there to another one, or maybe another club, probably in Germany or something like that. But the fact that some of these people, especially Yannick, is someone that you guys have actually played with or been around, played with on the team, is to show you that things are possible. I mean, but it's not. I would say I'd put Yannick, as I've told you guys before, in a certain 1% bracket, because he puts the effort in. There's a lot of times he does 2-a-days just on his own without, a team practice. There's none of that stuff he did. He was just doing it on his own. So just an example of sometimes hard work does pay off. He did 1 year at Washington Adventist, and in order for him to take on this England thing, he has to still do his degree, because that's the only way you can get your student. You have to get a student visa for him to stay there and get paid. So that's something he's working through right now. He hasn't committed yet to going back because he's just working through some things there. But it will be soon enough that he goes back. The contract's in hand for him to go back and play over there. But I would be lying if I said every single person in here has the exact same opportunity. You do have the opportunity, but I would say I don't think everyone is ready for that. And there's nothing wrong to be not ready for that. Like I've always said, it's completely okay. You don't have to be the person that wants to play pro. You may just want to play college. You may just want to get your education. You may just want to play at this level for fun, which is completely okay. So just an FYI. So I kind of went through the college route, what has happened there and what you need to do now. The other two that went up aside from Yannick were literally, they just finished high school. So they were 18 and they didn't do college here. They just went straight there from high school. And got their offers. But again, different caliber type of players. They're taking it much more serious than a lot of us on this call. So, but if it's something that you want to do, you definitely have to put the work into it. If you want to have more conversation about that with me offline, certainly I'll talk all day about that. So action items: don't have NCSA, or you are not using it enough, start using it. I told you guys about this back in May or earlier, so that you could get a head start on it because of the way the pandemic is going. I could see that being a niche, is that folks are waiting out or not being able to go now and play. And like Miles, for example, Miles got an offer to play for this fall, or to join this fall, but because obviously the pandemic, he chose to start the school in the spring. So, so that's all possibilities there. Okay, now diving into, again, it's a short call. I guess, what, I'll do this. Let me stop there before I jump into practice. There's any questions on anything I just said relating to NCSA or relating to anything? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've said a lot about about anything else, and Sam chimed in on his experience. But anything else from anyone? Any questions? You can just unmute yourself if you have any. Okay. All right. So moving on into practice. So this one I would ask for folks may have to speak up a little bit on this one. Aside from the folks, but maybe not everyone, but aside from the folks that are, we have the Thursdays and we have the Saturdays right now, right? The main reason why we did Thursdays is primarily because on Friday, the field is being used. So that's one thing we couldn't necessarily do, like a Friday, Saturday thing. Also location wise, we had moved from where we were at Paint Branch to this location that we're at now. The Paint Branch situation is not that it's not ideal, because you used to get numbers there, but the problem is it's at a school. The goals that we have, which you guys see, we have actually full-blown goals. It's not an easy transport from the parking lot to the field, and also keeping the goals overnight at the school is probably not something that the school would be okay with. I would probably have to get approval to see if that's okay. But where I'm more so thinking is in terms of the Thursdays, and aside from folks that I know, there's some folks who, and it's completely okay, who cannot come out right now, obviously due to the pandemic and things like that, that's out there, and parents not feeling comfortable. I'm completely okay with that. But aside from that, with the location where things are now, if I know there's bus routes involved, I've been hearing about that could be a potential issue. Sometimes it's hard to get to versus getting to Paint Branch, I just want to know if are those some of the things that are restricting folks coming out, or is it work, or is it because we, like I said, we seem to get enough numbers on Saturday, but I'm more so speaking especially on the blue team, if there's folks that can't come out because of certain things. So if you don't mind, if someone wants to unmute and talk about that a little bit, it's particularly those who take the bus, or particularly folks that, we can first talk about Thursday. Is there anyone that has issues getting to Thursday practices, and what are some of the challenges? Anyone?
I wanted to say I couldn't make it to Thursday practices because I have evening lectures on Thursdays.
Okay.
But it's an accelerated class, and I think last week is my last week. Next week is the last week. So
right.
Like starting next Thursday, I'm gonna be able to make it to practices normally. That was the only thing stopping me from coming to Thursday practices.
Yeah, no problem. And again, if you guys don't know who that's Ferris, so Ferris has already graduated actually, or is in the process of graduating and everything. And so Ferris, you've already graduated, right? Is that?
Yeah, I graduated 2020.
Yeah. So he's now and he had great grades. So he's really in the process of looking at a fall 2021 start for his college journey. So, but anyone else? So Fierce, I hate to say it, but you get a pass regardless because you graduated. So, not, but I appreciate it. Anyone else that finds the Thursday practice a challenge, in terms of getting out, just discuss openly if there's anything else. Like I said, I've heard about bus routes. I know Joa just joined, but if there's anything that folks that have issues, particularly getting to where we are on Thursdays. Anyone else other than Ferris?
So do you mean like just like getting there? Like if we have issues just being there? Like if there's something going on? Like I'm confused.
So, wait, no, I said any getting there, not being there. If you're there, I should hope you don't have no issues while you're there.
No, I'm just saying because like some Saturdays I got work, so no, that's what you mean like.
No, that too. Yeah, I want to know like, is there any issues with transportation, work, schedule-wise, especially on Thursdays and Saturdays? I would say, just let me know now because what I'm trying to do is identify if there needs to be any changes, particularly to the days. Saturdays, I think, will be pretty consistent on that. But if there's any changes on that days that people feel works better, let me know. Is there other things that are, impediments? Like Ferris mentioned school. He's wrapping up on that. Anyone else has things on Thursdays that is usually an issue?
I mean, for me, typically, my work is supposed to be Friday through Sunday, and like let's say like 5. So Saturdays works for me. It's that Thursdays because me and my brother do the same job. I have to cover his work sometimes, but like just the past few weeks has just been bad timing, like bad coincidences. But it should be back on track, or I should be coming to Thursdays. But that's just my issue. Work can be a necessity here and there. It's just random when it comes to Thursdays for me for work.
Okay, but is getting to the field an issue?
No, kind of, because my car that I have now is I can't use it anymore because there's some insurance issues and all that going on with it. So,
okay.
So starting to be an issue.
Anyone else? Let me just call it some that take the bus. Sam, how is? I mean, you're always there, but I'm just curious. How is the bus situation for you? Is it a problem getting to the fields and whatnot? Again, I understand you're there and you're usually there, but I just want to know what's your experience with that.
So like I only like the 10 all the way go there to the field. So like I only take 10 by my like the bus stop here near my house. So every time I just took 8 there.
Okay, but
so I don't have a bus problem.
You don't have a bus problem. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fierce, you come from the other end. Do you take the bus or drive, or I guess how is it for you when you come from that side?
I take the bus. So to get like the buses that usually go around every neighborhood around here are the Z8 and Z6, but they stop you around Tech Road. They don't go all the way down to the field. So what some people can do is they can either stop and then like it's like a 10-minute walk, or they can wait for the 10 that goes down there. And it stops them right in front of the field, and that's it. It's just two buses.
But there's a walk involved, right? Is it a pretty long walk, or you just? I guess my question is that a hang up for you?
Nah, not at all. It's only like most 10 minutes, and even if you don't feel like walking, you can just wait for the 10. It's a bus. That just takes you stops you right by the field, so it's not really a problem.
Okay, because I mean, there's definitely leniency on getting to practice a little bit later. Obviously, I mean, I think Sam does that. He just gets there when he gets there, which is fine. Ideally, it'd be best if you're there earlier, but given the transportation situation, especially on a Thursday, I am completely okay with that. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like overall a sort of like an issue, because if it is, then we'll have to revisit that. I'm just looking at some of the names on the list here. No, okay. So I guess for the most part, other than the folks wouldn't, because I guess for the most part, the rest of the folks that can't come out are limited to situations like the pandemic and folks aren't comfortable yet. And I know we're probably eventually going to get through that over the next few weeks or months, maybe potentially. If it's not necessarily the answer, but I went up to the Soccerplex and this weekend, and Gabe's on a call. He knows that, and there's tons of people out there playing. I was actually surprised to see literally all the fields, most of them booked up playing. So that's something that seems like things are getting back to some level of normalcy. And that leads me right into my next point, which is sounds like I think we're okay on the practice. I think we're going to leave it on Thursdays and Saturdays. I just wanted to have a confirmation on that. There's some folks who aren't on the call, but I will follow up with them individually to see if there is an issue. Because if I somehow later on decide that it's somehow based on what we hear, although this is a good enough crowd to hear that it's not, then I'll bring that up again. But for right now, I think we're okay. The location seems okay, and we'll leave it at that. In terms of games, okay, so I'll first talk about the high school team. So the high school team right now, well, let me talk about the league, because we're not in an unofficial league. The only league that's happening right now is a 7v7 league that's happening at Sam's. And we're not in that. And I don't know what their plans are for having, I think they're going to have another spring season, but they're looking at that point to be 11v11. That's more so where I would imagine the high school team would have more of their games, especially now being kind of October, November-ish. I don't see us being able to obviously jump in any league like that before that. There was discussion I've had, you've heard me mention things about tournaments and things like that. And realistically, the level of where things are with the high school team, it wouldn't make sense to enter into some of those tournaments, because a lot of those tournaments are at I want to say it's a very competitive environment. So the team would need, the folks would have to be a lot more committed, a lot more at a different skill level, I guess you'd want to say, than where they are to be playing in a tournament format. So just understand that. In the interim, though, again, but do understand that we're dealing with November. What I would like is maybe potentially looking at scrimmages and things like that with other teams. Obviously, with the pandemic, I don't see many teams out there rushing to do a scrimmage, but it's something that I'm keeping in my back pocket a little bit to see potentially who. District Reign is one that comes to mind, and because we've done that before with them, and I'd probably almost want to do it with them, maybe with the high school team and the Division I blue team potentially. But I don't even know, from what I heard when I spoke to them, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, they're not ready to come back yet. They're in DC, but if they do end up coming back sooner, that will be an opportunity where we could play, because they actually don't play in leagues; they just play in tournaments. So that's it on the high school front. Is that we will more likely, if you just take a step back and say potentially, probably would not be playing until spring of 2021. Which is expected to see that we're in November. Indoor, I don't know what the indoor scene is going to look like come December. If it is an opportunity that makes sense, I'll let you guys know. More than, obviously, with indoor, you can only carry a certain amount of players, so it'd be something that we'd have to identify based on maybe cost, maybe who is interested, and then roll with I don't know, it's usually like a 6v6 or 5v5, I think, actually. So you'd probably roll with 12 or something like that. So you would have to identify who the 12 are that are interested in, whether it be at the high school level and or the blue team. So that'll be something to look at. Now, in terms of tourneys from the blue team, so we've already registered a while back, and this is a pending registration with a big tournament. When I say big, it's pretty massive. The Bethesda Premier Cup tournament. That was scheduled to take place in November 22nd. I got confirmation earlier this week that they are going to have it, because they were waiting themselves to figure out if they're going to be able to do it. what this means, and then this earlier this week they had to let us know whether we're accepted to even play, because it's not just, you can't just roll up into a tournament, you have to be accepted. We were accepted. That said, though, there are definitely some restrictions in terms of the age grouping, so we'll have to look at that and see what age grouping is and who can help us there. And then secondly, more than likely it would be 3 games total, so it would be like a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And then that's it. Yeah, that's the best thing. So that's something that's potentially is on the horizon. It seems, without a doubt, it's happening. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is why I brought up the whole attendance of practice thing, because we would need to, not that we weren't preparing, but it's something where I feel like we have a certain theme which we're going with. We're not going to change our format or ramp up training specifically for this tournament. We would continue on our theme and our philosophy and move through there, but we would need folks there because some of those folks who are not there are ones that potentially could be playing in that tournament. We are potentially even adding more players. I've had some folks reach out to me throughout this week, and even today, and last week, we have some folks popping in and out. Wilmer's one that just popped up, I think last week or so. So we're definitely in a process of adding folks, especially on a high school team, because we're down significantly in numbers, especially since a lot of folks have moved on. But if there's an opportunity where it made sense to bring someone up, like a Javon or someone that would be on the blue team, that would be something that we're definitely looking to do. But it definitely would have to take a lot more commitment and development, I would imagine, from that particular player. But again, it's going to be a very, very tough competitive tournament. Win, lose, or draw. I'm not too concerned. Obviously, I'd love to win, but there's a purpose that we're going out there with, and in my opinion, it's to get as much film as we can and to put ourselves to the test against some of those top teams around the nation, if that's what they like to do. Okay, so that's mainly it. We're here October 20th, so a month from now, really 4 weeks is what we're talking about. So again, that's why I want to stress the idea of attending practice, communicating. And then the last thing I want to mention about practice is, which most of you guys are, but I don't think everyone is really truly, so most are, but some aren't doing it, is registering prior the week. There's a link that's on the site that I gave you guys. It should have, if you don't have that link, text me. But you should just go there every week, once a week. You can do it on a Monday, you can do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, and just sign up for that week's practice. Say whether you're coming Thursday or Saturday, and even if you come to Thursday and realize you can't make it, just submit another one and say, I'm attend. I can only attend Saturday or whatever, because it helps me leading into the numbers, which is what happened last week. I was able to see ahead of time. We only had roughly 5 to 10 folks, even if some folks said that they weren't registered yet. I knew numbers wise, it would have been too low to go out there and set up goals and do all this other stuff for 8 people, right? So it wouldn't make sense. So that's what I'm trying to do, is identify that. So if you guys can kind of take you guys have homework, you guys have things that you have to do by certain deadlines, I would say treat this no differently, where by Sunday, I would say Sunday of that following week, if you could just make it put a phone reminder, whatever you do, to say, to remind yourself to go ahead and fill out that form on the site. It helps us to, it's not something we've done before, right? But it's something that helps us to identify who's coming, who's not, especially with the pandemic. It also helps us to keep a number count as to who was there and who was not at practice, especially, God forbid if someone got sick or something like that, we'll know, okay, well, this person was at practice, let me contact these people's parents or something like that. That was the intent. We still are going to do our temperature checks and things like that. But if folks are just popping up off the street, that's where I'm trying to tell you that I will have no problem turning them back. I'd hate for you to come on a bus, didn't register, and then me telling you, yeah, you you can't come to practice. So do take it seriously. From a planning perspective, I'm not just doing it for me. I'm telling you, as you go further in life, you're going to realize that a lot of what you need to do requires planning. School deadlines require planning. Everything that you guys do, even your homework, requires planning. So don't take soccer as just something you just show up for and have fun. You do have to do a bit of a planning. There's a mental side to it. So take it as serious. Okay. So any questions? I guess I know we're pretty much over. I'm kind of done. Any questions on tournament talk? Any questions on play talk? And that's it. Any questions on that? Open forum. No.
Wait, Coach.
Yep.
You said we're gonna have the games Saturday. Wait, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
No, that will be where the tournament would be. Yeah, it will be on November 22nd, which I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I think it was let me see here, 22nd. What's interesting? Hold on. It must be November. Oh, it's November 20th to the 22nd. So a month. Yeah, 4 weeks from today. So it's Friday the 20th of November, Saturday 21st, and then Sunday the 22nd. Yeah. Oh, and then so last thing I want to mention. So I guess Javon, is that what your question was? That's it? You just want to know the date?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to know.
In terms of league play now for the I already talked about the high school team. Yes, that's spring of 2021. In terms of league play for the blue team, that more likely would float around spring. I know there's some people back playing, but definitely it's not in a SAM league, and it might be with EDP. And I talked about EDP before, whether we're doing that or not. I'm still looking into that to see whether it's something that we want to do. I do have my reservations in terms of how the league is asking us to set up in terms of cost, in terms of feel that we need to get, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you look at what is our critical path has always been recruitment, right? So in terms of getting folks recruited, it's fun to play a competitive game against some other team, right? But at the end of the day, if we've already shown to have success with playing just fine in a league that's people deemed as, it's a weak league or it's not as whatever, and you're fine, you get into college, it doesn't really matter, really, honestly, at the end of the day. You can play those competitive games at those colleges and whatnot, but that's kind of things that we're looking at. So right now we're still toggling between the SAMS League and possibly EDP, and or if spring doesn't make sense from a league standpoint, potentially looking at 2 to 3 other tournaments that spring to enter into, which may be more fun, give or take, because then you're gearing up for something almost every other month. So that'd be something cool to look at, especially some of you guys maybe even going back to college, you wish, high school soccer in spring. So that would be something that may end up happening in the spring. I don't even know if the high school are coming back around spring. They say that, but I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work.
Starting school normally in February.
Yeah, I mean, a lot is up in the air, I guess, at this point. But
like County already released a statement.
Yeah, but I'm saying is you were saying that assuming nothing changes in terms of the environment, right? So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's everything's, right. So that's potential. But the goal is, if we're thinking ahead, we're going spring. We're playing spring in a league or a tournament format. The goal is to get as much highlights as you can, put those together. Hopefully, you should have already had those discussions with the coaches prior to that. I know, for example, Sam, who already, like I told you, congrats to Sam for getting that offer from a school yesterday. But he initially, if I'm not mistaken, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, when you initially were engaging with the coach, you didn't even have your highlights up yet, right?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when we were playing like in the league, so
Yeah.
I'd be having I did some videos and then just upload it on NCSC.
All right, cool. All right, so then that
Coach,
to that point.
I want to say something. I want to say something about the website.
Yeah.
So I don't have my highlights yet, but like I pretty much just got my info.
Yes.
And then I've been getting a lot of follows like recently.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah, because I know that there's definitely folks who don't have highlights of getting receiving text and whatnot. So that's definitely not an if. It would help for sure, but I know even with Sam's situation, the coach had I've already hit. It's the same school that Miles is going to, but the coach had reached out to me to talk a little bit about Sam and what my opinions are on him and things like that. And then I think that eventually led to wherever it's at right now, where they eventually follow through. So, but yeah, you'd find these coaches definitely are looking out to get folks now. And even if for some that are seniors and are looking to potentially even get a look at by some of those coaches, even if you wanted to go to the same school as another person, that's also cool too. I mean, the coaches typically would call me. I get messages every now and then from different coaches. I had one coach literally ping me the other day just saying, who else I got? Like who else do I got like in coming out? Because they're just eager. They kind of, I want to say we develop a name brand, but at least for them, he knows that they can count on us to bring up some players. So it's a good place to be rather than us chasing them sometimes. So that's what I would say on the college front. Just use NCSA. If you don't have the information, you all are hearing me on this call. Please, I can't sit here and re-message everybody about it. You reach out to me and tell me if you don't have it or if you need information on it, and I'll help you do that. Now, realistically, do I feel like everyone's ready to play in college? No. So not everyone. I'm looking at this call. Maybe this call is a different call, but there's definitely some folks maybe not on this call who are not quite ready yet, and more so because the commitment's not there, the school work is not there. That's another thing too. You can't just roll up at these colleges assuming that you can just come up there with a 2.3 or 1 point whatever and they're gonna accept you. They're not. They won't. It just wouldn't make sense. And not only that, but especially some of these schools cost like $32,000 is a number. And if you can get even like a 3.0 or higher, like in Yannick's case, 3.0, he barely scratched it. He was able to get free tuition. So it just depends on your situation, but a financial situation. But I would say the first thing really is if you're in the process right now, do your NCSA, finish that out, get it submitted, start writing coaches. If you need help on the what email to write, we had a boiler template email that we've put together. You can change it, do whatever you want with it. And then especially if you're seniors, you should be looking at now in November, which I was telling Sam last night, you should be now starting to look at filling out the FAFSA form, which is, I need to double check what the deadline is, but that is something that you want to for financial aid, because you could get significant amount of money off for school, which will actually determine what schools you're going to go to. Because if you know going into this thing you're going to get 30,000 or 20,000 off, and it determines which school you're going to go to. Okay, so that's something that you want to make sure that you do. If you have questions on that, reach out to me. I'm here. Okay. I don't want to hear this like towards the end of May next year saying, Coach, what was that NCSA thing you're talking about again? I think I'm trying to go to college. And I've seen it before, and I don't want that. I don't want that for you guys, because by then it's too late. And even if FAFSA is done, which I was telling Sam, by first come, first serve, because the earlier you do it, they'll give you more money than if you were to do it later on in the year. So that's something that's going to help your parents out, help everybody out. But again, I can't stress this enough. I'm a resource. I don't want to brag about this, but I'm pretty good at this part of it. Okay. And I can help you guys transition. I can help you guys. I can be realistic with you guys and let you know what you need to work on. I can let you guys know if you're not there yet, or refocus on what you need to do. But just use me as a resource. I don't want to have to deal with it on a 2 months out and you're trying to go to college or something like that. Okay. Because I really can't help you at that point. I could talk to you guys. Oh, another thing too. I could talk to you guys about career paths and things like that, which leads to my next point. If you do need help, I've had calls with a couple of different folks, Lul and a few other folks. If you need help on college direction, what major you're looking at doing, and have some questions, you can reach out to me. I don't know all the majors. I definitely can guide you on some areas. For areas that I'm familiar with, like computer science and things like that, I can help you have that discussion. So use me as a resource, and we can talk about that. We can even talk it through Zoom if you want to. Okay. All right, we're over. We're done. Any other questions? I leave it like 30 or 10 seconds if any questions, and if not, I'll post this. I'll post this on YouTube so you guys have it, and send the link out in case you need it. Any questions? No? Yep, go ahead. Yeah, what's up?
I have a question about the financial aid.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the first generation program? And like, I know some schools have it.
No, so I don't know what that is, but I know at the very least everyone is going to, if you're definitely talking about financial aid, it sounds like that might be a grant, possibly. So different schools may have a grant. Is that what say that again?
No, I found a business card. It says first generation college bound. Have you ever heard of that?
No. Okay, look it up. First generation college bound. I'll look it up. But what I'm saying is the standard process for every single person is to fill out the FAFSA form. The FAFSA form will run through all the different grants that are available in the nation. Mm-hmm. And when you put down, like, for example, I did a thing for the parents on this before, and I have the YouTube video in case you guys need it or want to show your parents. I can, when we did that back in earlier this summer. But what it is, it goes through explaining that you do the FAFSA form, it will run, you get a report at the end saying, well, you put in what schools you're interested in. If you don't have the schools, no problem. It will still tell you what you're qualified for based on your parents' income and things like that. If they don't have a parent that has an income, it will help you figure all that out. And at the end, it would give you, not right away, I think it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, it'll give you a report as to how much you're qualified for. And you can always go back in and update it with the schools that you're interested in. So let's say Keystone, let's say you've already submitted it, but you want to put Keystone in there. You could put in the Keystone code and then see, and then that information goes to Keystone, and then Keystone would reply back in the report telling you that you get roughly $10,000 to $15,000 off. Like you would be able to determine that from the report, which, like I said, will help you even with Prodigy. What Prodigy is saying is potentially, if that's a grant, which it may or may not be, I'll double check it. It may be a separate thing altogether. But I would say at the very least, everyone should have their FAFSA form, and that is a senior trying to play college in the fall of 2021. If you're a junior, does not apply. It's not even something to register right now. It's good to know about it, but so Prodigy, let me know. I mean, if you could text me the name of that, I'll look it up, and then maybe we can have some more discussion on that. And if I find that it's something that the group needs to know, then I'll let everybody know. Okay.
Understood.
All right. Any other questions before we sign off? Okay. So with today is Tuesday. So I see some of you guys, hopefully most of you guys on Thursday, and then hopefully see everyone on Saturday that can. And we'll just continue as is. Okay. All right.
Coach,
yes.
Where can I find this recording?
I'll post it. I'll send it to you guys on text, or however I usually send you text, Instagram, however you got the invite for this Zoom, you'll get it, and I will send it. It will be more likely posted on YouTube.
And my final question, as far as training goes, like outside of practice, do you still want us to continue the packet you sent us, or do you want us to do our own, what we think is necessary, or what? Because the packet you gave us outside. Remember
the preseason packet isn't necessary anymore, but if you want to do it for yourself, you certainly can. I think it's good. It has a lot of different good information in it, but it's not a requirement. It was preparation for our practices. So you don't necessarily need to do it, but it's always good to kind of get that it's always good to get that kind of information, and working at that stuff early. So
Perfect. Thank you.
So that's what I would say. Okay, so that would be something that you can do on your own if you want. But I think if I were to do it, I would say, for me personally, I would, well, number one, make sure you're fit and do all your running your best you can. But particularly, there's an area in there that keeps you disciplined in terms of amount of touches per day. I would definitely think about that, because that's going to be something, especially if you don't have some of those things, basic things like passing, dribbling, just your touches. That's going to be something that you should do. You're not going to get it all by our Thursday and Saturday, guaranteed. You won't.
So my thing about that is because, like, I know you had a goalkeeper version and another version. Only with the goalkeeper version, was there supposed to be a difference between the two packets?
Yeah, the difference is really just the fact that the goalkeepers they don't have as much foot skill requirements as the player requirements. Other than that, I think, but then that's substituted with technique, the technical side of it that's requirement from a goalkeeper. So if you want to revisit the player version just for yourself, sure, it's downloadable right there. If you don't have it, I can get you a link, but it's right there on the website. If you go to the website, on the far right on the menu, you should see something called Players Corner. Under Players Corner, you pull that drop down, and it would say fitness packet or something like that. Something relating to that. You could pick player version or the goalkeeper version and look at the difference. But really, the difference I know for sure is that the player version has nothing to do with, like, I think it was like certain amount of catches a week or something like that. You don't have that requirement, and it's substituted for on the player side with a little bit more of the, the touches, dribbling, and things like that. So, you got me?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I will. That's it, guys. Thanks for your time. Again, congrats, Sam, for getting that offer, and hopefully you get some more. Hopefully everyone gets some more as well. Okay. All right. See you guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.